He had 8,200 hours. 8,200 flight hours. What? That number is outrageous. The Kobe Bryant crash should have never happened. All right, welcome to Mile High Fibered. My name is Seth, and normally I'm talking about cool jobs for low-time pilots and how every flight hour counts as part of the journey. I truly believe in pilots and the journey that they have to take to accomplish their dreams. If you're a regular visitor to the channel, I just want to personally thank you for being here. Today's video is going to be a little different. All right, this video is something that I've really been putting off because I didn't want to appear that I was capitalizing on a hot topic that happens to also be a serious tragedy. However, I have had several non-pilot conversations with people about the Kobe Bryant crash, and I think it's time to talk about it. Okay, so everyone knows the story of the tragedy, the crash in California where all 9 people on board of a helicopter sadly perished. You know what happened, but let's talk about why it happened. It should have never happened. First of all, my sincere sympathy to the family for the unbelievable loss that they have endured. The purpose of this video is 2 things. First of all, we need to learn from these mistakes and do not repeat them. Second, I care way too much about pilots to ignore the issue, and I'm going to talk about this crash in a way that the media will not. I'm going to talk to you as a pilot, not a news reporter. First things first, many pilots have crashed and died from stupid mistakes in an airplane, and many have crashed due to weather. I hate that it takes a celebrity to get everyone's attention about this. It really frustrates me and makes me want to fight this even harder for the lives of pilots. All right, so let's talk about the pilot involved in this crash. The sole PIC responsible for the Sikorsky S-76 that crashed in January 2020. This guy had 8,200 hours. Just ponder that number for a minute. The pilot had 8,200 hours, and if it can happen to him, don't think it can't happen to you or to me. Simply put, the mistakes and the situation that Kobe's pilot got himself into and his passengers into is the same thing that you've been taught and heard about since the day you started your pilot training, from the beginning. All right, so there's 2 major mistakes that the pilot made that caused the fatal crash. First mistake, he absolutely did not listen to the warnings about the weather, low ceilings, heavy fog, and he just allowed the external pressure of completing the flight for the passenger, for the customer, to dictate his decisions. If he had said, wait a minute, Mr. Bryant, if you're gonna go, you need to either drive today or you're gonna miss your daughter's basketball game. Honestly, even the LAPD isn't flying today because of the weather. Hey, fire me if you have to, but I am gonna make damn sure that we all live today. He should have said that. I mean, come on, man. Why didn't you say that? Secondly, after taking the flight and receiving several warnings from ATC about flying too low for radar coverage, this should have alarmed somebody who has 8,200 flight hours to get the hell out of there. Seriously. He didn't, and he let that hazardous attitude put him into a further destructive path of decision making. Quick note, just like any accident, if one change had been made in the chain of mistakes, just one, then it would have interrupted the entire process and stopped this from ever happening. Just remember that next time you fly and things start happening that causes the hair to stand up on the back of your neck, you need to always listen to that inner instinct. As the pilot had continued forward, something happened to him that no matter how many thousands of hours you have or decades of experience, could not and would not have ever stopped this from happening unless it was prevented altogether. What am I talking about? Spatial disorientation. Remember, just because he had 8,200 hours doesn't mean he has developed a foolproof feeling or skill to fly by the seat of his pants. No, he was completely susceptible to spatial disorientation, and that is what absolutely took him and his aircraft down. The proof is in how fast he descended and how quickly his helicopter gained speed. The inner fluid in his ears was just lying to him the entire time, in which he probably felt like he was climbing out of the fog, when in reality he was doing a turning descent right into the ground. There was no engine failure. I imagine he could have done an auto rotation and had some kind of non-fatal landing. It surely wasn't CFIT because the drastic change of altitude and speed. He became a victim of spatial disorientation, and it can happen to anyone. Don't forget that. Trust your instruments and not your gut. I just want to say that the family members that suffered because of what happened in that helicopter truly breaks my heart, because they couldn't have changed what happened. There was only one person who could have done it, and it was the pilot. You and I are pilots. We have that responsibility. We need to think about those people who are still on the ground, who love and care for our passengers. So with all that being said, I eagerly await to read the official NTSB report, and I pray that this problem finally gets the proper attention and awareness so that pilots stop dying and killing their passengers. It needs to end, and it starts with us, you and me. We are the solution. Learn absolutely everything you can about how to safely fly in IMC. Don't slack on your training, and always, always, always study previous accidents that have happened so that you never repeat them. The airplane is your responsibility, and as the PIC, you need to be completely focused every minute you are operating it. Always remember that that flight is not over until that airplane is in the hangar or it's tied down. So I sincerely hope that you got some value out of this video. Feel free to drop a comment below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and if you want to join me on the journey. I greatly appreciate you, and I thank you for being here. Fly to the finish every single time.